Good morning, good morning, good morning, people. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and welcome to the live stream. Good morning. Today is, what's that? Today is August 1st, 2023, and the time is okay, 10 a.m. Yes, I already did my walk for the day. Got back a little over half an hour ago. And I have a headache. Yes, I gotta just relax a little bit. I'm a very sensitive person, I see. Very sensitive. And it started with a video that I watched early this morning. Yeah, I woke up. Yeah, I fell asleep in my living room. I had my videos playing in the background. And I was watching this YouTuber. And things are changing, people. Sometimes it's like you may say to yourself that you wish you didn't see certain things, but sticking your head in the ground doesn't help. We could pretend certain things aren't going on, but life is such. Life is such. And those who are awake, you have people who claim to be awake, but they want to put everybody to sleep. I say, people, yes, it's at your own risk. It's always better to be awake. But even when you see too much, you start to shut down a little bit. And I think that's what happened this morning. Even though I went out, some things like it reinforces what you already know. See, life will always show you what the truth is. And sometimes some YouTubers out there who share information. And then when you go out to the garden, it's revealed again things that you really don't want to see. Yeah, a YouTuber was talking about this, the signs of the time, and using like these movies that come out. Now, I didn't see the movie that they were referring to. I saw the preview with what's his name, Jamie Foxx. He did a movie, I think a Netflix movie. I don't have Netflix, about cloning Tyrone and what this movie really means. And this YouTuber was sharing her thoughts about it. And it's kind of tight. And yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Good morning. And yes, sometimes they share information. Yes, I did see the preview on that movie with Jamie Foxx about cloning Tyrone. And um, it is telling about the times. And in one word, synthetica. Synthetica. This live stream is about synthetica. And it's revealed that they're sharing, the system is sharing what the New World system is all about. Synthetica, plastic, non humans. And it pulled down my spirit because I know this to be, my spirit knows this to be true. And I've discussed things like this before about these syntheticas. And YouTube is sharing videos like the uh, this woman on a airplane, and she's saying something to a white female talking about that this particular fellow is not real, and she seemed a little frightened, and she changed. I don't know whether she actually exited the plane at that time But either way, people are responding to who knows what. See, we don't know the whole picture of what's going on with people, but something is triggering people. Or movies are revealing about a wake up call about what's happening to people. And with Cloning Tyrone, that again, I didn't see the movie, so I really can't talk much about it. But she discussed it. But it's what I gather is that, see, the movie Cloning Tyrone, uh, they use um, a particular time in history of. Oh wow, my intercom started buzzing a little bit. Oh well, let me continue. Um, it takes place, at least they show footage of people wearing vintage clothing of the 1970s. That's what it looked like, the 1970s. And I was told that they make reference to things of the 1990s and current events. So it's gathering all, from the past and the future and kind of blurring it all as one truth. And it's like a wake up call, and the wake up call is seen to be presented, according to this YouTuber, focuses on this woman, and this woman was exposed to this person that someone had allegedly, in the movie, had gotten banged, you know, and then they went this alleged person who passed away um, is seen again in the community the next day, and people say, "Hey, we saw what happened to you the day before. You're not, again, you're not real." And this is what introduced them to investigate, and they went into this building, and in the building they saw the bodies of the person that's supposed to have been gone. And it seems like the real hero in this movie is the woman in this movie. She's supposedly represents the, like in the movie The Wizard of Oz, that movie from the 1930s. And she is trying to awaken people and wrote letters to others, in the news people. But she has to be rescued. And this rescuing of the Black men of the community. So, what's happening? And who's going to wake up the people today? And why is this targeting? And in a nutshell, what's being, the word clone, a clone is something that is, they may take out what is natural, but it's what they make out of that which is natural, something unnatural. So what does this have to do with my my headline? What do these falling trees mean? Well, when I went out today, now see, I saw the video regarding a commentary on the movie Cloning Tyrone, and then I went out to nature, and I uploaded the video not too long ago, and you'll be able to see this video. It's probably still uploading. It's a short little clip I did, and I show a video of the park, this Central Park, and an area in Central Park called the Ramble, and all these falling trees. And I made mention of this a couple of videos ago about the dead leaves on the ground, even though it was raining for several consecutive days. But you'd see all this tree bark, leaves, and the trees are falling down at the Ramble. It's a section within Central Park, and Central Park is in Manhattan, New York City. It's a little island in New York City, but all this death and dying. So I started to see a correlation. I I'm seeing a correlation of the video of a YouTuber that commented on the movie Cloning Tyrone with Jamie Foxx, who uh, allegedly had some severe medical issues, and then now he's back at the scene, and people were questioning his authenticity, meaning, is that really him or a lookalike? So again, people are being awakening to the concept of reality. Is this real? Is this a real person? Is this my real friend? So I don't think it's any coincidence that here he did a movie, Cloning Tyrone, and then Jamie Foxx's reality had a medical issue, and then over a month later, he's back in the scene, and people, think he looks a little different. Is that really him? He did look a little paler, but again, if you're indoors for a month or something, you're not getting any sun. But either way, so you have that about what is real. Is this person real? And then my going to the park after that commentary and noticing the trees. The trees are falling down. And I was told by a worker, a gardener of Central Park and the Ramble section of Central Park. And they explained what happened. They said when the park, now, Central Park is not a natural park. It is a park that has been, what do you call it? I forget the term. Um, when you create a landscaping, it's all landscape. Manhattan Island, Manhattan Island of New York City is a rocky island. It's made out of bedrock. It's an extremely hard, durable rock. And that's why we're able to build skyscrapers that are, that can take all these buildings that are over 100 stories high, you know. Um, so some years ago, Central Park was created in the 1800s, and it was to compete with Western Europe's parks and everything. And so it's all landscape because see, there's no soil. It's all rock. And so they had to bring in soil and put plants in. And, so I mean, it is beautiful. I go to the park often. I love that park. Even the squirrels are introduced. It's not um, a natural habitat for the squirrels even, but they are flourishing there. Hey, Asa, it's good to yeah, it's good to see you, Asa. Yeah, I'm just really getting started with this live stream. Yes, it's always good to see you. Peace and love to you, Asa. So what's going on with this? Yeah, Central Park, and Acer knows about Central Park. But yes, Central Park is not a natural park. It is a synthetic park, meaning it's all landscape. They took something, they took a habitat, a rocky habitat, and then they wanted to create a forest. Hey, hello, Johnson. Yes, I haven't seen you before. Ollie Johnson. Good morning to you. And thank you for the compliment, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Yes, even as older ladies, an honest compliment from the heart is always welcome. Yeah, and I need a compliment these days. I'm very sensitive today with the information that I'm sharing. I'm very sensitive, and sometimes reality of things can pull you down. But how I cope sometimes is by doing videos to speak out what's bothering me. Yes, I care about humanity, all humanity. I care about all of us, and so this is really something to share from my heart what I see going on, and others are seeing what's going on too, and so that's what's happening here. So yes, Central Park is not a natural park, and its history is very controversial. And I did a video a couple of years back that Central Park was created, was taken away from communities. Yes, Manhattan Island. Um, yeah, Manhattan Island was first settled in the southern tip of the island of Manhattan Island, and yes, New York City did have slavery. Uh, they were, people were trafficked here and were settled in the southern tip of Manhattan, and slavery ended early on in the about 30 years prior to like the southern states like Georgia, Florida, and all that, Mississippi. It ended before them. And so the community, the community down there in southern Manhattan was they manufactured stuff, um, they did a lot of trade and a lot of I think shipbuilding as well. And so after slavery ended in New York City slash Manhattan specifically, I'm mentioning. There was a lot of competition going on, and a lot of Europeans were being brought in after the end of slavery in Manhattan, and there was conflict with the former enslaved people, and uh, Manhattan, um, uptown was considered like a wilderness, like we've heard of the term the wild west. It was undeveloped, and but the word got out that land was being sold up there, and so you had some of the former enslaved people of southern Manhattan, and they formed a community up what we know today as Central Park, around 80 some what today would be 80 something street, that area of Central Park. And I did a video and I showed the artifacts of the ruins of this area, that was once a community of that had houses and everything and all that stuff. And sometime later, oh, then yeah, sometime later on, uh, I guess a developer, these were rich individuals of European ancestry, and they wanted to take away. They wanted to develop this part of Manhattan Island to compete, to be the new gemstone, to compete with the prestige of Europe. Yeah, because at one time, the European Americans wanted they still had ties to Europe, and eh, the the education, the prestige, the role model was still Europe, but the Americans, European Americans, wanted to establish a prestige and an ego of their own, and so they wanted to build up to be able, build up um, these major cities in America, and to say, hey, we're prestigious also. We have something good here too, and so they wanted to create a park that would rival that of the gardens of Europe. For example, in France, France has its gardens, and so they wanted to get land, and it was said that the people there aren't really let's just take it. They gave them a warning. They gave them about a year notice that they have to leave. And yes, this community had other ethnic groups as well. It wasn't just people of African ancestry. They also had people of European ancestry. So you had black and white living together. This was in the 1800s. Black and white people lived next door to each other in New York City. And they weren't paupers. These were people that had they had, you can tell with that the artifacts there, they had excuse me, pottery that that indicated that this was of value, the things that were of quality. They didn't just live in shacks. They lived in some. They had nice things, and they were trying to, the system that wanted to take over wanted to say, oh, they're not thriving there. Oh, look at some of their homes, but the artifacts show that, hey, you had people who had nice things, and they were given a year to move. And interesting that they didn't know, that modern day is trying to track down some of the ancestors of these people that lived there. In particular, the blacks that had lived there. They cannot be found, according to the former black governor of New York. But either way, why I mention about this? So New York Central Park has its history, and part of that history that you had people who lived with the land, with the system, with nature, but something unnatural. This is the key, what I'm trying to get at. That a synthetica, something artificial, was to be introduced. And to take away the natural order of things, people got along in New York City, black and white. They lived right next to each other. Okay. And but it was toppled over, this system, that initially lived in Central Park. And the system wanted to introduce something new. They wanted to make it look pretty. They brought in soil, dirt, plants, and they even brought in animals like squirrels there. It's not, it's not natural. And so, well, I was told maybe 2 months ago when I noticed that the leaves were all dying all of a sudden. And and even though it was raining and raining, they said, well, it's not raining enough, it's not enough. And um, they added that when they developed the park, because it's not a natural park, and the trees that they put in trees that grow really big. But them knowing, they know that it can only last so long because, see, it's all bedrock. The video that I uploaded earlier today, I indicate this, I show it in a video. This is my audio video, but a couple of minutes ago, I uploaded a very, very short video of the park in question. So you'll be able to see this as well when this live stream is over. So everything's made out of bedrock. And okay, how could a tree grow in bedrock? It wasn't designed. Nature didn't design it to be there. But again, you can force issues. You can force a lifestyle or a habitat on nature / human beings as well. You can force something upon the living or living systems. and you can make it look very cosmetic, but it in the end, it will not flourish. It might grow for a season, but now the season is saying enough. So, what's happening now with the trees? Well, the trees in Central Park, and in particular the Ramble, you can see it very up in your face, because the Ramble section of Central Park is almost like a reserve that the natural life, natural animal life, dogs supposed to be on a leash, is to preserve the so-called nature, but again, it's an artificially created forest. It's not a natural forest. And again, they knew the developers, the people who planted the items there, the plants there, they knew with the type of trees that they're putting in there that it only has a season of growth. That at first, because the ground is rocky, to compensate, the trunks of the trees grow real tall and skinny to get nutrients from the sun, and they produce a lot of leaves. But see, at at a point when there's no soil left, the trees will encounter certain uh, diseases because it's not getting the right nutrients, and they are falling over. And that's what I show at today's video, that video clip that I shared not too long ago, earlier today. And one by one, the trees in the Ramble are falling over. They can fall on people too. Yeah, it's like on an angle because it's all rocky, and so it's like growing on an angle because it can't dig in the soil because it's on a top of a boulder. And then if you have a strong wind, a thunderstorm, boom, they all fall, or the falling over one by one by one by one. Yes. Yeah, thank you for, yeah, Acer is just mentioned it. Yeah, let me show what Acer is saying. He says, I believe that the trees in the park and all over are a form of, yes, terrorism. These lantern bugs that eat the trees from the inside out have been, yes, let loose and are destroying our vegetation and crops. Thank you for sharing that, Asa. And then Asa added, yes, the black lawn landowners of Seneca, thank you, Seneca, yeah, Seneca Village, that town in Central Park back in the day, right after slavery ended in Manhattan. It was called Seneca Village. And I did a video a couple of years ago, a live stream showing Seneca Village. So you could also like Google, I'm not go, I meant to say, like when you go on my channel and in the search bar of my channel, you can type in Seneca Village and you'll find the live stream. And I show all those areas, Yeah, thank you, Asa, for sharing that name. Yeah, it's hard for me to remember names now. Okay, Seneca Village and the Irish. Well, wait a minute, let me read back. Yes, the black landowners of Seneca Village and the Irish were pushed out. The black people went just north, which created Harlem, and the Irish went just south, which made Hell's Kitchen. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So you have a takeover over a natural system that was there, the beautiful boulders. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, you have very large boulders there. And you have the little shrubs that can grow and do fine in shallow soil. But you get like an oak tree? Come on. Why would you do this? because they want you to believe in the unnatural, the synthetic environment, all for show, all to deceive, to get your attention, to make you think that you're getting something comparable to back in the what do you call it, the homeland in Europe, whatever. Okay, well, you can't compete with a system that it's not designed for it, and it's not going to thrive. But it's to stroke your ego, get people from other countries to come in to see this new environment called Central Park. But Central Park now is dying. And they knew that the trees, these large trees that they planted there, have only a short season, that after 50 plus years, they're going to start one by one dying. But now it's increasing in magnitude, the number of trees that are falling over, or the bark is being are coming off, the leaves are coming off. And the YouTuber that mentioned about the movie Cloning Tyrone, she also is from New York. She lived in New York City, um, and she made mention about, oh God, my memory. I'm sorry, I boy, my apology. I I just got distracted here. But either way, I apologize for that. Okay, so either way, you have an unnatural system. Oh, I remember what she was saying. She showed a picture of the globe. It was a like on the news reporters, based on the solar activity, and she showed the United States and all this electrical activity, radiation, to be more specific, radiation, that it was all light in color because of the radiation that's being bombarded in the United States. You don't see the same thing in South America, our neighbors. It looked like, as she said, a Christmas tree. And so what? So I'm thinking, okay, radiation. I would imagine radiation could be affecting the trees as well. All the bark is falling off, the leaves are falling off. Could the 5G be influencing the condition of the nature here in New York City? Just food for thought. What is going on? I mean, she showed the picture, the and it looks different, how everything is being looks like being radiated. So again, radiation. It's like introducing something, and it's to, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, to influence the natural order of things. What does radiation do? It causes dis-ease in the body and a dis-ease of the mind. Don't you notice, at least here in New York City, cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, right? People, I mean, Asa could probably vouch for the what are people doing now? People are going bonkers here in New York City. So the natural order of things, see, again, I kind of going back and forth, but it's all related. People are getting bonkers, and I think maybe something is being introduced to the environment. It's not natural. People are getting edgy, people getting headaches. And yeah, remind me also, Ace, I want to talk about the food, the so-called organic food. Yeah, yeah, but I'm going to continue. But please remind me later on, like in 10 minutes, about the um, the people, the organic foods. Yeah, people are being programmed. Yeah, to be violent. Yes, I noticed that. And so you have this. People are changing. People's behaviors are changing. The environment is changing. It's like getting real hot. The past 2 weeks, it was like in the 90s. Usually, the heat, the peak usually occurs like the second week of August. So we're like 2 weeks ahead of the schedule of the temperature. Um, so why are they showing this? What does all this mean? Well, okay, so you have a system in Central Park. Everything's dying. And again, the people who developed the park, Central Park, they can calculate. They have the, what do you call them? Horticulturists, agriculturalists. They know by looking at what type of plants, the diseases that the current plants have. They know what's happening and it's going to happen quickly. They're going to be falling over, everything falling over. And I perceive that, see, that the order of things now, it's a change of the gods. It's a changing of the gods. The changing of the gods. And so they have to create a system that we're going to all see. And see, when you're looking at everything and everything is behaving the same, it also programs the people. It programs the people to accept and make you think that this is a natural occurrence. This is not natural. What's happened in Central Park is not natural because that park is a synthetic park, so to speak. It's not a natural environment for this type of habitat, this plant life habitat, because the type of soil it is. And they could uh, time when they want certain events to happen because it programs you to accept certain outcomes. If nature is doing this and your body is doing this, oh, it must be natural. No, it's not natural. It is programmed. It is social engineering. It is environmentally controlling what you experience. So they want what's happening to your body and what you see happening outside in a beautiful park like Central Park or the Ramble to happen around the same time. So you see all these plants shriveling up. You see the people acting funny. And they want you to accept this type of altering of your genetics through, okay, what's also happening here in New York City. Don't you notice all these, uh, I guess, could I say the word marijuana? We have all these shops all over Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, these what do you call it? Dispenser places, dispensing these plants. The marijuana plant is a female plant. It's a female in nature, meaning it has estrogen-like components naturally in that plant. And they're pushing this on the population here in New York City. They are all over. Some of these dispensaries are real fancy. Yet, even though last year, was that 2 years ago, a lot of the businesses uh, fell out of business. They felt that they were thriving businesses, and a large number of businesses closed down permanently in New York City. But yet these dispensaries are popping up. How do you afford that rent? The rent of these um, places, these storefronts are expensive. How could they afford it? How could they afford it? So I guess start noticing who is opening up these business, start noticing the people who could afford these new rents, even before the jab in the arm. If you know what I mean. Before all that happened, 2019 and before, uh, businesses were also shutting down, but not anything like what happened in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. Not like that. But they said that the rents be, were shooting up exponentially, and they had to leave. So you always see signs of the time if you start noticing the businesses that shut down and who replaces them. Just just putting out there just to notice who is able to acquire these new exuberant leases for these businesses. Okay. Um, so these dispensaries are issuing out these chemicals. I mean, this plant, and if you start noticing who's going in there, you know, and I know some of you, if you know, and I'm not trying to be uh, shame anybody or sign racist or anything like that. I'm not about that, but I am about exposing things as I see it to my understanding. Okay, I noticed that the people primarily who are going in these dispensaries are black men. That's who you see, and when you're walking down the street and um, when you be smelling it in the street at times, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not like not even the tourists. We have a lot of white tourists. You don't really see, once in a blue moon you see them kind of go in there, but you never see them come out and smoke it. Never. Who do you see smoking it? Who do you smell it on? And how are these black men acting? How are they acting? Out of their mind. Out of their mind. And I think this is part of the social engineering and just before the fall. Okay. And I feel badly for these guys. I feel badly. My heart goes out to them. I'm not trying to make fun of any of these guys. These guys are victims, in my opinion. They are victims to a system that putting so much stress on a population. And slowly also we're also getting uh, whites from other states, and I'm feeling that they're possibly from the central USA, in the middle, what do you call Midwest, the Midwest, and they coming through the Port Authority bus terminal, and they look out of their mind. They don't look like they're from here. They're not native New Yorkers. They're not New Yorkers. New Yorkers, we wear certain clothes, they talk and act a certain, but no, they are not from here, and they're out of their mind. And you know that these whites from the Midwest, that I gather that might be from the Midwest, and the black local black men, they seem to get along very well. Oh, they're not saying the pejoratives against one another. They are acting like buddies. What do you call a brother from another mother? Yeah, that's how they act like. It's amusing to watch because they're both being targeted. Americans, whether they be white and black men, are being both white men and black men are both being targeted. The alpha male, the real men, they are being targeted, and they're being pushed into the drug culture, in my opinion. In my opinion. And so where's this also going? So it's to destabilize the male. Aren't men historically protectors of the home, protectors of the children and their wives or even girlfriends? Isn't that historically? But see, they want to usurp that, in my opinion, and make the man forget who he is. They want you to forget you are. And they're pushing an agenda to make them lose their identity, if you know what I mean. And again, your lifestyle, adults, is your business. And I'm not here to insult anybody about the lifestyle that they choose. If you're an adult, you choose what you want to choose, but be aware of the consequences of your behavior. And they're confusing you. I hope I'm not offending someone. I just saw some of the people left these live stream. Don't be offended. Examine what I'm talking about, and if you don't like what I'm talking about, share what you feel. But either way, um, it's social engineering, in my opinion, and it's to pull down uh, you from wanting to struggle, you from persevering. They want to emasculate you. And again, marijuana does that. Marijuana is a female plant, it has estrogen in it. And if you are doing this smoking of it and you're a male, you're going to start wondering why you're acting kind of soft around the edges. You don't have certain desires anymore. They are emasculating you and they want to put you in a stupor, in my opinion. And so that natural component of you is being removed. All seem to be being timed in with what's happened in Central Park. Again, a lot of people went to Central Park. It is international. They have a lot of activities that happen in Central Park, but at the same time, they are showing you, and it is reflecting what will be happening in the near future. A fall down. You all enjoyed its beauty, yet it was an artificial beauty. Artificial. It's because it's an artificial forest. It is an artificial. Thank you, Ali. Thank you for your comment. Yeah, it's an artificial um, existence that they're introducing to you, and you need to wake up because you're falling asleep. You are falling asleep. Thank you again, Ali. You're falling asleep. If you're going to do something, smoke something that's going to make you a man, make you assertive, make you strong. You know, they want, but they're pulling you down. So isn't the male also, again, as I said, the protector of their environment? So they're tying your hands behind your back. In essence, when they have you taking all that stuff, they are tying your hands behind your back so you cannot fight. What else are they doing to you, to all of us? Okay, now the women are getting more aggressive. You notice, aggressive women, man, they're acting like men. How is that? Yeah, you don't see the women smoking the marijuana. I don't see it. I see men. And the women, I don't know what the women are doing. You know what the women are doing? The women are wearing weaves. What are in those weaves? And they're getting real creative with those hair weaves. They have weaves and they have what you call wigs, the lace front wigs. And they have it as an art form. They're putting that glue on that. Women, you putting glue to your scalp, isn't that glue slash chemicals going to enter in your brain? What is it doing to you? Look how you're acting. Look at how you're acting. People. Yeah, it's bad shape. Yeah. So so that protectiveness to the family. They're not even about family anymore. Many of them are killing their, their children, their what's in their womb. So they're making, what used to be a nurturer. You're not a nurturer anymore. You're becoming militarized, and it's not in your benefit. One thing, you want to protect your children, your land, but that's not happening. And proof of that you're not protecting your environment is, I want to share a video with you. Yeah. Um, yeah. See what's happening. See your men's arms are being tied behind their back, and the women are acting aggressive, but you're not uh you're not protecting what's in your womb. Okay. You're disconnected from life. You're disconnected from life. You are the life giver. I don't I never seen a you know, I never saw people of the black community, the women, ever breastfeed their baby. But you see women, new women that come here from like South America, the indigenous women of South. Sometimes, once in a while, in the park, I see them breastfeeding. I've never seen a black woman breastfeed her baby. Formula. Watch out by that formula, baby formula. Okay. Yeah, because that's all estrogen in those made out of soy. A lot of those baby formula is made out of soy, and soy is what do you call it? Is um, GMO. It alters. See, it's an artificial food. Artificial. They want you to feel that it's you're not progressive if you breastfeed your baby. You know, well, and look at our community. You're not as intelligent anymore. Back, my father, he had passed away 14 years ago. And yes, he was a son of immigrants from the Caribbean, and yes, Poorville. He was born in 1931. Right in the beginning of what we call the Depression, the economic depression of that era that started in 1929. And my father always talked about how poor he was. Yeah, he was a dark skinned black dude, Poorville. But one thing that they had back then, uh, they had breast milk. And yes, that West Indian mother of his, yeah, as poor as she was, she breastfed that kid. My father's teeth were so damn straight. No cavities either, even in his adulthood. And he never had childhood diseases. Yes, breast milk, uh, okay, might have been considered unchic. But back in those days, in 1920s, 19, women breastfed their babies. And they were healthier. And my father was tall and he had straight legs, straight bones, solid dude. Yes, he was. But look at now how the people are sickly. No, everybody. It seems like now everybody in the black community has allergies. Allergies up the you know what? Allergies. How does a bunch of poor people from the 1920s, the late 20s, 30s, Poorville immigrants, and those Southern people too, urban to the masses of the people back in those days were poor, poor, but they were healthy. They were healthy. and they didn't have those allergies. But now they have so-called more technology, uh, more access to food, but it's not healthy food. It's all GMO'd. See that? You're creating a synthetic environment, synthetic foods that cause allergies. And then I noticed now all these people who are healthy, healthy, healthy growing up, for some reason, late in their life, they at that time got allergies. And I can only speculate that the allergies may be due to the synthetic stuff that is being introduced to their bodies, the plastics that are being introduced to their bodies. Okay. Um, yeah, so let me show you that video. Let me see if I can do this. I haven't done this in a while. Okay. I'm going to show a presentation. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. Okay, hope I do this right. Allow. Okay, let me try to find the video here. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, this is a video that I found. Oh, this was on someone else's channel. His name, let me show you name of the guy. Okay, ABL. Okay, this guy here. It's a YouTuber. This guy, this black fellow. And he shared a video. And okay, Chicago residents of Woodlawn community harassed by migrants. Okay. Okay, these are them. This is Chicago. See all these black folk? I'm not trying to shame anybody, but maybe a little bit too, as a wake up call, because I talked about this. I talked about this, and you think I'm just see. Sometimes people say things, and they're not trying to be racist. Okay, they're trying to wake. Yeah, I wanted to talk about something like that too. That because I had said something. Yeah. Also remind me. I want to also talk about this thing about the body. The weightlifters. I did a video. A couple. I commented on a video that I saw 3.5 years ago about the black bodybuilders, and I thought they were being racist. The a commenter, someone who did the video, was I thought they were just being so-called prejudiced about these weightlifters. Most of them are all dark-skinned people, and then again, the weightlifters, when they're in competition, this was a competition being showed, and they put that body makeup on, and I got offended. See, I was unaware. I was not familiar with the um, weightlifting field. That's not my specialty, and I took offense of someone who told me the truth, that told the viewers the truth, but I got offended. And again, yeah, I want to talk about that, but a little later on. Yeah, so I hope I remember after I show you about this footage here. I hope you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so you see here, build the wall. See now, okay, who has that poster? Yeah, this the black dude here. He has to build the wall. 2024. See, what's happening here? Most of the people who live in Chicago are black folk, and you see here there are some white people, older white people that also live there. Okay. Okay. I'll read this. Chicago residents of the majority black Woodlawn area have allegedly been threatened and harassed by migrants sheltered in the former elementary school. I did not. The Wadsworth Elementary building currently houses nearly 600 migrants, in quotes, which is near the top of all shelters in terms of migrant capacity in Chicago. Two other shelters have around 1,000 migrants each. Wow, that's a lot. There are also police stations filled with these people. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. The issue with Wadsworth is the lack of security and the troublemakers who are now threatening and sometimes fighting local residents. the usage of this building as a migrant shelter has been controversial for quite a while, especially since over $100 million were allocated to assist the migrants just a few weeks ago. Look at that. Uh, uh, Poor Black people and poor white people and poor Hispanic people of America, those American black, white, yellow, red people. Did any of you get any of that $100 million allocated to your neighborhood? I don't think so, but somehow they were able to find this money, the system to find $100 million to give to migrants slash illegal slash, what do you call it? Those people who claim asylum seekers, etc., etc. You didn't get it. Okay. This is the video. Let me play it. It's a short video, it's 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Let me play it now.
Presentations all on display as neighbors in Woodlawn gather to talk about what they call big problems at a nearby migrant shelter. New at 10, CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov takes us through what happened.
Let them talk so they have a voice.
A call for order during a heated meeting at Woodlawn's Apostolic Church of God.
Who's helping me?
The focus, this migrant shelter in the old Wadsworth Elementary School.
I would ask you all to go out there at night, in the middle of the night, and see what goes on.
What's going on, according to community members, is loitering, late night partying, littering, prostitution, and at least one fight between migrants and residents.
It got a little heated, objects got thrown.
But many of these residents say they no longer have any tolerance for the disruptive behavior by those seeking asylum here. It's making them feel unsafe.
They disrespect us, they rob us, they harass us.
And their patience is wearing thin.
Let me say this. They got one more time to deal with it, because otherwise, next time they deal with it, they're going to deal with it from the streets. We're going to take over. Nobody's going to be able to stop us from what we're going to do to them.
Much of the residents' anger was directed at city officials in attendance, including 20th Ward Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor, Chicago Deputy Police Chief Stephen Chung, and Family and Support Services Commissioner Brandy Kanazi. At one point, police had to intervene, breaking up an argument during public comments.
And that absolutely is a problem.
And Alderwoman Taylor says she's now seen some of them firsthand.
The people who are keeping up the trouble are the people who are kicked out of the damn shelter.
All of the city officials here at this meeting promise that they are working for solutions to make the area around the shelter better for the neighborhood and consequences for those asylum seekers who are found to be breaking the rules or the law. But residents say they want to see something happen and something change immediately. In Woodlawn.
Okay. Okay. So you saw that. So I'm not making up anything about So what was the point of my sharing that? See, they have in these urban centers, they're putting in the marijuana to immobilize the straight black male, removing his edge to defend his community. And then the women are acting like men, but they want to, many of us, I shouldn't say me, but you have young women who, it's their body, but some of us don't know how to control our bodies and prevent a pregnancy. And then many are killing their own fetuses through abortion. And then they want you to say, oh, well, our bodies are right. Yeah, our bodies are right. Yes, it is your body. But you also have the power to say, no, thank you. No, thank you. And be more selective who you sleep with. See, that is power. The power to say no to a dude and make mean no. Okay, so you don't have to run to the abortion clinic. What are they doing with your fetuses? What are they doing with it? They're putting in products. That's what they're doing it, and they're harvesting it. Just saying, just saying. Okay, not again. Not everything that people say against you is due to racism. It's a wake up call. That's what this video is about. A wake up call. What is happening to you? Oh, so yeah. So again, with that community in Chicago, which is representative to Manhattan, New York City, where I live. And I live near an area where you have those shelters, those so-called migrant shelters, and they're busing the children. They had like 4 yellow buses, school buses, to take these children, these illegals slash asylum seekers slash who knows what their label is. But either way, they're allowed, they're being bused into New York City, and then they're busing their kids to some other area for education. But yet, your kids are local kids here, the local kids of New York City are behind in their reading, their math, and all that. But they're not sending you money. They're not sending you money. Sorry. Sorry about that. My mic had gone off for a second. Sorry about that. So either way, what I was saying now. So all these things are happening around now, as you can see. Um, so the black man's arms are being tied behind their back. They're being emasculated. The women don't believe in life. They're not pro-lifers. Um, our communities, urban communities, are being bombarded by migrant workers. And initially, who was protecting the migrants? Who was speaking out about the migrants initially? About the border, south of the border. What was happening about a year or so ago? Were a lot of these so-called minorities slash black people from your community with those bullhorns? What do you call the what do you call that thing that you speak into? That thing that makes noise to amplify your voice? I forget what it's called. But were they using that and then calling people who disagreed with the border to set up a border and called them racists and called them bigots and all sorts of names and called them that number 45 who was in office, all the bad people. Now those same type of people are now feeling stupid because they let them in. Because they got caught up in the race card thing, like I was getting into, the race card that they have to be racist. Oh, you don't want those people from south of the border because you're racist. Now know what's happening now. They put them in your neighborhood, in your community, in your school building. They put those kids, those families, in a public school building. So where are your kids going to school at if that school is not occupied with migrants? So your schools are being occupied by migrants. So there's less education going on now, less facilities. So now you're going to have a what do you call it? and overcrowdedness of students. It's overcrowded. Overcrowded. What happens when you have a school that's overcrowded? Violence. Violence. And what were those speakers of Chicago talking about? That the migrants are getting aggressive and starting fights. Now I live near one of those shelters. It was a hotel, and there are a lot of abandoned hotels or hotels that the city, the government buys off of these developers or whatever. They buy them and they house some of the homeless, and most of the homeless in New York City are black people, black men, because they had the black men that were in the prisons, and when they get out of prison or jail, they're no longer qualified to live in the projects. They got to live somewhere, so the government builds these houses. By the hotels in the city, and then they shove them in there. Well, they're also shoving in there the migrant workers, the migrant people, and some of them they're buying this. Some of the hotels are open hotels, and the government pays $500 a night for each of those people. $500 a night. I can't afford $500 a night to stay at a hotel, but they're there, and that's what the government is paying for these places. And then at the area where these the migrants live, their families and soloists, and some of the real spooky, the tattoos on the face, and they have that, when people doing are under the influence of some chemical, that how the eyes go, and especially those people that have the tattooed face. Wow. They also have right on the corner these police now. They usually have 4 because they know something's going to happen. They've been there for a couple of months now, but initially they weren't there. And I did make mention 2 months ago about they had a security guard working there, and he had, get this, the security guard of that migrant place, with headphones on, playing music, and he thinks he's at Soul Train, dancing. Look how cool I am. This is a security guard. He exits out of the building. He has his security guard uniform on. That's how I know he's a security guard. He had the security guard shirt on, and the whole outfit. And he's playing a fool. See that? So either, the hands are tied, or you play the buffoon. You're not thinking. These same people, the people who live there at that hotel for $500 a night, they're going to act out, and that's what's happening now. Across the street from that place, that hotel, they have these bikes. So they hang out across the street of this place, and they have bikes and these mopeds, the electric, the electric bikes, and they hang out there, and they're garbage all over the place. Garbage. I'm just gonna close this window blinds here. Here we have these people fixing the facade of the building, and they go right in front of your window. Yeah, they've been doing this for months now. I'm gonna close it. Yeah, they go right at your window. Just as closing that. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, because they were looking. I mean, one time I was in bed, and I got up late, and the thing is right there. I'm so embarrassed. There were 2 of them, right? Well, either way, yeah. So, so what's happening with these, they're getting more bolder, these migrants. And they hang out now. They just hang out when they
I leave my place early in the morning. That's where I see them just hanging out by these bicycles. And it's right near this other building where you have the Americans or the homeless American people, right on the same line, right around the corner from each other. You don't think that what's happened in Chicago is going to happen here? You think it's by accident, people? You think this is just by accident that they put the migrants right next to the American homeless people shelter? You don't think that they're going to have a clash? All the garbage all over the place, that whole strip, garbage. Why is it garbage? Maybe you should have those migrants clean, employ them and have them clean the streets. See, they're creating a death mentality. They don't want you to embrace life. And they in my opinion, that it's not a coincidence what's happened in Central Park with the trees falling over and dying, the garbage in the street, the migrants, and then not the migrants now getting aggressive to the locals that live there, that live here in the cities. It's not by accident. And again, the correlation again. See the women in the urban community, the women of color, Americans. You drop the ball, and you allow these people in, and you call those who were against it racist, Trumpers, and the like. And now those same people that you allowed in there are now attacking your children. And no, this is not an anti-immigration rant, no. I'm talking about what is lawful versus what is legal. You don't allow someone who's not, you should know, anyone who comes into your house, you should know who's coming in your house. That's why we have the locks on our doors. Because you want to protect what's yours. And when people find out that something is open, they take that as a welcome to take what you have. We had the doors open, so to speak, and they came in and they don't respect you because they know only a fool will keep the door unlocked. Only a fool. And so now they're going to treat you like a fool. And as those black women said, they don't respect us. They don't respect you because you don't respect yourself. Because you don't keep your door locked. You're not using wisdom. And you're not about family. You're about being emotional. You're about just calling people that they are racist or this and that. And that's not what's going on. That's not the issue. And they're relying on your sensitivity of the history of discrimination and slavery in America. They know that. They know what presses your button, but they're bringing in people that are designed to cause your community to fall, to cause fighting. They want that. The system wants you to fight with these migrant workers. Don't fall for it. Do not fall for it, and don't do violence against anyone. Do not do that. They're testing you and they're pressing your buttons. And yes, they're bringing them in right in the summer, the hot season. Busting them in right in I think it was May. They started bringing them the end of May and bringing them into urban congested areas. Jobs, don't you think they're going to eventually get jobs, these people? Who are going to employ these people? Are they not going to compete with your children, you urban dwellers, you citizens of these urban dwellings, urban areas? Who are these new employers? Who are they going to hire? Well, they don't want to hire Miss Keisha, who acts like a man, and then they're not going to hire Leroy, who doesn't have his pants up and is all marijuana, right? Acting like out of his mind. They're not going to hire you. They're going to hire those people, those migrant workers, because they're tinier. Tend to be real tiny people. You know, they're real short in general. The women were very revealing, which might be considered revealing, up on top and on bottom. And the guys, they work well with each other, one another. They're not fighting each other. And you just have them, ride the bicycles, deliver food. And they like being outdoors. But you're not gonna, the locals are not gonna have jobs. And summer is halfway there, halfway over. And your kids will be going to school at the end of this month. It's August 1st. By the end of this month, kids are going to be going back to college. And mid-September, public schools will be in motion. And those migrant workers have a right to go to school. Public school. You don't think they're going to be fighting? It's a language barrier. And yes, a lot of Black folk here in New York City, we get really defensive when we don't know the language that's being spoken around us. So it's going to create chaos. And that's what they're hoping for, people. That is what they're, and I'm speaking the truth. See, people are dropping off listening. But I speak the truth. And no, I'm not trying to be anti-anything. It is a wake-up call that I'm seeing that a pattern here. That is what I'm trying to convey, that there is a pattern about life versus death, a system, the changing of the guards. That is what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. A simple place like Central Park and the Ramble, and slowly but surely, the building, the trees are falling down. Just like the guy's pants are falling down, they're doing the marijuana and they're out of their mind. The men are no longer acting like men in these urban areas. And I would wonder, I would also think that in those rural communities, that the white dudes there are probably targeted also. And yeah, fentanyl. The Blacks here do the marijuana, and in those white communities, they're doing fentanyl. And those dudes are out of their mind. This is social engineering, in my opinion. And they are crippling the leadership of America, getting the women to act aggressive and unnurturing to their children. And many of them are having their fetuses removed. They're not connected with their babies. They're not breastfeeding anymore. Or they're soyed up. Eating so much soy products, getting real big. Those people now are getting really, really big. Don't you notice that? They're just getting so heavy. You're eating all those soy products. Eating the GMOs. Yes. Yeah, and then again the movies, like they got you all focused on Jamie Foxx, right? He's doing a movie, and then this medical emergency, and then his movie on Netflix comes out. Yeah, I don't think the movie that he got sick on was the same movie that is put on Netflix. I think they're separate movies. But let me know if I'm wrong. I did not see the Netflix movie. I saw the previews of it, and I watched a video with the YouTuber explaining about that movie about cloning Tyrone. Yeah, again, the clone. The clone is something artificial, but it was made with something that was natural, just like Central Park was made with things that were natural, but it was put in an unnatural environment, and now it's suffering. Now the consequences, things are coming into fruition, but it's not a fruition of life, but a fruition of death, of decay. That's what's growing. And then they're putting in what serves as a weed to choke out your resources in these impoverished urban cities like New York City where I live. And I'm seeing it firsthand about these migrants. The guys are just hanging out. Why would they do something like that? Yet again, it's called social engineering. Social engineering. I'm very sad about that. Very, very sad about this. And so that's why when I came home from walking today, I felt depressed. And I started to get a big headache because, see, I couldn't avoid the realities when I saw the correlation of what the YouTuber, I'm not going to give the name of the YouTuber, but the YouTuber who shared about the movie on Netflix, Cloning Tyrone, and then going to the park and seeing the decay that's happening. Yeah. But see, we have ourselves. See, we may not be able to. I mean, we can speak about these things to our so-called leaders in local government. But I have a feeling that a lot of these people are sellouts. And it's unfortunate that you notice, and I talked about this before, you notice in the large urban cities that they're getting more and more blacks to be the mayors of these cities, but you see that they never seem to help their constituents. Why is that? See, just because someone skin folk is not necessarily kinfolk. And see, they rely on our sensitivity to say, oh, these are our, we're under the same minority label, whatever, or we're people of color. Well, when someone says that you're a person of color, ask them, which color are you? What color do you identify with? And what lifestyle are you promoting? See, that's the question that we seem to fail to ask these people that we put in government now, in these urban centers. We assume because they are so-called people of color that they represent you. And we need to start awakening, because if you don't awaken soon enough, the tree, those dying trees, may fall on top of you and hurt you. You don't want that. You don't want that, people. You have to start waking up. Not everybody who is a person of so-called color is your friend. You have people who have agendas. You have people, these people who may be members of organizations, You have people who may be undercover and belong to certain alphabet agencies. You may have some who are the MASON, and they have their meetings, and they plan out things ahead of time. You may be a part of a sorority or a other type of fraternities, And then they go into neighborhoods. And then they, in fact, I saw a video just maybe 2 days ago. Oh, what is this now? Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I believe it, but it was like, wow. It was a discussion of these two people being interviewed. This happened recently. One was a black woman and one was a white dude, and they both worked in Harlem, and the lady, they both were studying filmmaking, amateur film, they have schools that teach filmmaking here in New York City, like Spike Lee, that director, actor. And the lady was living in Harlem, and who was she? She met up with this guy, and they both lived in Harlem. But it turned out that she mentioned like the guy was a black dude, and he wore, as she said, wore a very nice outfit, just very clean, all this and that. And they had these political discussions, intellectual discussions, and well, it turned out that the guy was an informant. This black man was an informant. And yes, they know how to dress him up to be presentable, to talk to some of these intellectuals of the community. And they want to get information. And what they were being used to do, this man, this informant, again, he also he worked for this law thing, what do you call it? When you don't have money for a lawyer, they give you advice, legal advice. Yeah, Legal Aid Society. He worked at the Legal Aid Society, and he was recruited by an alphabet agency. Set him up in Harlem. They paid for his apartment there. And they were, in a nutshell, what happened? They were doing what you call a sting upon certain segments of that population. So anybody that they feared, so they already know who they want to target, these agencies, but they seem to use people of color. Again, not everybody who looks like you is about you. Okay? Just because they look like you doesn't mean they're about you. But see, like a chameleon, a social chameleon. These are social chameleons that they present in certain neighborhoods to gather information. And then if they fear there's, let's say there's an alpha male, they don't seem to want men to act like men. So if you show too much assertiveness, or let's say you are a member of a particular religion that's associated with certain types of behavior, like 9/11, want to be very tactful. And they targeted this man, targeted this. He infiltrated this person who's a member of this converted to this particular religion, and then they set him up. And the guy that's being set up had a social media and said, "Hey, I feel that such and such is happening to me. I don't know why this is happening, blah, 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 blah." And guess what happens? Because this person that's being targeted was now aware that he was being set up, they were setting this guy up to do things on the server to get him to, like the person said, oh, well, hey, maybe we can do camping or something. And yeah, it sounds cool. And then he said, hey, but we could go do more than just camping. We could, suggesting, certain type of weapons, like, doing things like that, trying to set him up, make it look like, oh, he wants to do like practice doing certain armories, make it look like he's preparing to do WAR. That wasn't the case. He realized that something didn't sit right, so he wrote it on social media. Guess what happened to this guy? Well, he was arrested and some other trumped up charges. They didn't arrest him for being a terrorist, but something else. Was about taxes or something like that. See that they because they couldn't get him on what they actually wanted to set him up for doing, but it was something else. And they were doing other people. And so now this informant, this black informant, his cover is blown because now it's now it's known in the community that this guy helped get arrested this man that wasn't doing anything. And so they had to move him, relocate him. And again, he was friends with this lady who was studying, movie making. And when he moved, he got in contact with the lady. And for whatever reason, he wanted to be interviewed about what happened. And the two, the other filmmaker, the white filmmaker, they knew each other, something. It was a little confusing, but they collaborated together, the filmmakers, and interviewed this guy, the guy who is an informant, and setting up people, innocent people, so they can justify the war on that particular word, terrorist. Hope I spelled it right. But yeah, that's what happened. They wanted to justify so they get more funding and more funding and more funding. But they're creating that particular word. They're creating them. So are they not creating the chaos with the busing in people from other parts of the world, and not just, see that's part of the cover story too, the people south of the border. Not all the people who are south of the border, of that border, see, anybody could come through any border, but as they call it, the Chinois, that's a French word for a particular country in Asia, the Chinois. And start noticing that they, even the movie, the video that I showed you with the Chicago. Now, who was the guy at the panel? Was not he a Chinois? And he looked like in charge of the place. Did you notice that? People, I hope I'm not talking to myself. Did you notice in the video that I showed you with Chicago that the person in the center of the panel, the officials, who was that official in Chicago? Again, Chicago is predominantly black, but who was amongst the head of that meeting? A Chinois. And no, I'm not being anti-Chinois. I'm against the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. the CCP. And what it looks like that the CCP is getting momentum in the United States. I'm not talking about the average everyday person from that country. I am not talking about them. I am talking about a government that is bringing in people who are members of that government system, who are infiltrating your community. It's not an accident. They're not putting them in Chinatown. They're not putting them in the Upper East Side, these fancy neighborhoods. They're not being put in fancy areas, these migrants. But I see that it's, I noticed that what it looks like, that in government agencies, that all of a sudden the people, I mean, I've been here, you know, New York City for 40-something years, and you see who's working in the different agencies. Who do they have? Well, all of a sudden now, you're getting people that look like they come from particular countries that are controlling it. You go to the VA hospital, who are now controlling the heads of certain departments. All of a sudden, that they look like they come from that particular country, and the behavior, the aggression that they are exuding upon you when you don't want to follow certain things, like, you know, putting on something so it prevents you from breathing well. They get real uptight about that. When you don't want to follow their rules, and how they start to act upon you, what I call microaggressions. These aggressions. And they are coming through the border in the thousands. They are here, and they are in the thousands. But see, they have you worried about Hispanics coming through south of the border. See, that's the cover story. This is what they want you to focus on, hating on the Hispanics or the West Indian people that are coming through south of the border. They're not the problem. I mean, they're being weaponized. But what's really the issue is that not only are just people who just want a better way of life, you having the CCP coming through the border. CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, that they are utilizing our current administration, that is allowing the border to be open so that they could come in, the CCP, and take over. That is what's happening. But they want the cover story. They want you to get all upset and use the race card, this and that, and then you using your fears of racism and to let them in. And then when it's too late, you're going to be like Chicago. You're going to be like Chicago, like the video that I just showed you, and your community overrun, and they're going to try to promote fighting. And the CCP is just laughing at you. Laughing. That is what's happening. The CCP studies us. You're allowing them in your colleges. It's a big population. The Ivy League schools here in New York City, downtown, I'm not going to give the name of the colleges, but if you go in these these university areas in the city, whether uptown or downtown, look at the people who are the majority now in that school. That is something that should be focused on. How is that? So no one else knows how to study or get good grades, only particular ethnic groups? Only them. How is that possible? And if they're so smart, and I'm not trying to be pejorative, yes, you have brilliant people of all backgrounds, but how come they're not thriving in their own country? Why is that? It's because they're being brought in to destabilize. Yeah, you can get, okay, they have over 1 billion people. What's that, 1.5 billion people in one country? Sure, you can just get the top 1% and bring them across the border, have them infiltrate in the schools. You can also threaten them, say, hey, if you better get these good grades, or we're going to get your grandma back in the chinois. So they're motivated. They're motivated. And they might be members of the party. They get into programs, and once they get into programs, they can get a job. Again, all this openness about jobs. So they're not just an exchange, what do you call it, an international student. They're hiring them. Who's affording the buildings in these high-rise buildings? Who are moving in? They're not people that look like me. They're not people of the Black community. You don't see them. You don't see Black families in these buildings. They don't qualify. But all of a sudden you get these international students, new money, and the buildings are catering to them. The whites in this building, where I live, they're leaving. And they're being replaced by other groups. And the whole community here in New York City, it seems to be shaping up for this new migration of people. And it's not in your favor. It's not in your favor. And they were quiet for all these years for a reason. I said, why are they so quiet? You got immigrants from all these other countries, and they make noise. And I was asking, why are they so quiet? Well, this is why they're quiet. Because they don't want you to know what the left hand is doing. And I think this whole thing, I mean, it's progressive. It's progressive, this whole changing of the guards. And when Queen Elizabeth II, who passed away a little over a year ago, this is also a symbol, in my opinion, of the changing of the guards. Her system, her reign, and again, Britain and the United States have a history together. Despite what what happened in 1776, we're still connected by the hip. And what happens over there is going to also be manifested here. It's a changing of the guards. She had that reign for 70 years? 70 years. That one reign. And you have the changing of the guards here. Please wake up, people. Please wake up to what's going on around you. This is not an anti-rant against people of certain race or coloring or whatever. It's about a government system, a takeover over the Constitution of this country. It is a constitutional thing that's being violated. It is the Constitution that is being violated, but yet they use the term democracy. This is not a democratic society. This is a constitutional republic. A constitutional republic that is being overthrown, and they're trying to. They're really trying to expedite things because the election is next year. They're really pushing this. They are really pushing the issue. Please, people, please stay next to your if you have loved ones out there. Advise your children. Yeah, because the school is going to be opening in a couple of weeks, and especially if you live in these urban centers with where the migrant workers, the kids are going to be going to school. You better talk to your children. Talk to your children and teach them discipline, self-discipline, because they may be provoked. Or just keep them at home. Say, I don't feel it's a safe environment for my children. It's about survival, your protection, because you don't want to be used to be, riots or get the, you don't want that. You don't want to be a casualty. And better to stay at home and stay alive, because you don't want your children to be used to start some type of chaos. You don't want that. Yeah, maybe also start, teach your kids about discipline, self-discipline, and buying your food, buying food that is going to be healthy for your body and your mind. Yeah. So these are some of the thoughts that I have, and again, this video live stream is not to offend anybody, but to enlighten and get you thinking, and to ask questions. Ask questions and protect yourself and your loved ones. Keep them out of trouble. Okay, yeah, just look at this last message here. Asa says that migrants are the new workers that can do our job on the books. That's right. The wealthy don't want to pay legal wages to Americans, so these people will be replacing us for tax purposes. Yes, you hit that on the head. Yes, you hit that on the head. Well, I can't think of anything else to really share about this. It was wearing on my body and my mind. I love my country. I love America. And I hope I don't feel forced to leave. I really would like to stay. I love New York City. I love the city. Anyone else there that loves the city? Yeah. I love this place. But it is changing. And I have to do some thinking. Yeah, I would love to stay. But I don't know whether it's safe for me to stay or not. Yeah. So thank you, people, for listening to me during this live stream. I thank you. I thank you for your input. I thank you for sharing. And again, this video is not to offend. I care about all races and colors. I care about someone taking over and trying to change our government. We have an excellent constitution. We just have to do what it says. That's all. Yes, so thank you again. Yes, thank you again, and enjoy. The weather is cooling down now. It's starting to cool down. Yes, still stay hydrated. Eat your good food, eat good food. Focus on your health and wellness. I thank you again. And those of you who like this content, please feel free to share this this content, and to perhaps you would PayPal me if you like this content and want to keep it up. Yes, you can PayPal me through go to my channels, Spirit Journey. And on my channel, on the right side of the banner of it, is my PayPal me link. Just click on the link and follow along. Any amount would be greatly appreciated, and I thank you in advance for doing so. Peace, love, joy, harmony, wellness be unto you. Until next time, take care, guys and gals. All right.